What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and are you feeling in tune with yourself? Because the moon is she's in Cancer, she's at home. A nice little sidebar here. Whenever the moon, I feel, especially kind of comes up, like if you have, like follow the lunar transits, they can be really short and very kind of brief. But I do like when, especially if your sun in Cancer or wherever you happen to have your sun placement, when the moon comes up to that conjunction with the sun, that can be a really great time to just, but particularly in Cancer, to really just check in with how you're feeling. I feel the moon is just like adding this extra drop of just lunar energy. It's really, I enjoy that conjunction. But that's just a little extra thing to think about if you have your sun in Cancer. But we'll talk about all how we'll talk about all the feels here in today's episode. But before we get into that, if you're new here, again, welcome. My name is Justin, and know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. And there's also a place for you if you happen to have Cancer in your placement, sun, moon, rising, wherever. This one's for you. Maybe you don't got any planets in Cancer, but we all have Cancer somewhere. Still for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our lovely, lovely Lord here, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going to void a course, all of them lunar shenanigans. I actually learned something really cool about the void of course that we'll talk about again more next year. But the last little thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So wait, I already said that. Oh no, too early for that. Cancer, take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and everything will be dope. This happens like go off track. Now, let's jump into it, because, yeah, we need to get this train back on the tracks. But this is, what a great day for the moon to be in Cancer, because depending on when you're watching this, Happy Moon Day. The moon is associated with Mondays. I'm going to shuffle your cards here. And I find on a moon day, this really is just a great time to just really check on your rhythm, how you've been feeling. Maybe even do some things around the house that let's say if you've been really just kind of been maybe in a bit of a funk, just sometimes going back to like, okay, let me get some momentum by. When was the last time I cleaned this or that I straightened up that? Something to help get those emotions moving. You may not necessarily feel like it in that moment, but then it's like when you compel channel, what's that energy, what's that word I'm looking, cathexis, when you just kind of move that emotional energy somewhere else, it can really just do some wonderful things. So that would be some ways to kind of play around with this Monday, or even during like moon hours, just checking in with how you're feeling. But let's get into the lunar shenanigans, because this is happening early. At about 11:18, or excuse me, on November 18th, that's when the moon's going to be entering into Cancer. Thank you, Spirit. And that's going to be happening at about a little after midnight, about 12:50 a.m., and that's going to be Pacific time. And she's in a waning gibbous phase. And one thing that really kind of popped up in my head while I was thinking about this was kind of reflecting on like the who, what, when, where, why. Wait, who, what, when, where, why. Yes, the 5 W's, but in applying that to how you're feeling. Like, okay, like when was the last time that I was feeling like this? Whether this be good, whether this be not so good, and I don't mean even just, if granted it's Cancer, we're talking about emotions, but I find that a lot of that stuff comes through the things that you're feeling in this body. So if you're like, let's say you been feeling a little tight or something along those lines, or maybe something starts popping. It's like, when did that start doing that? And not in a way that alarms you. It's just like paying, when was the last time I was in tune with what's going on in this body? Where have I been when I was feeling this certain thing? What am I doing that I'm feeling this way? Why? And then getting down to, why is all this stuff? Whose energies have I been picking up on? I find that this moon in Cancer can really give you a lot of great insights, and being in the waning gibbous phase as well. I think it's about that conveyance when it comes with the waning gibbous. And so if someone has been not necessarily making you feel some kind of way, because we want to have more control than that, but if you've been noticing that a certain feeling is coming up around a particular person, then that may be something where you want to have a conversation with them and not put it as like, you make me feel. I'm noticing these feelings come up around you, and that gives us this sense of like, it's not you, it's literally me, and I need to take responsibility. I'm taking accountability for this. And it might be because I've been feeling this, or I've been noticing this thing. And then it can open up into like a bigger conversation, whether this be with another person, or maybe it is just checking in with yourself. Maybe this is a more of a monologue, if you will. However, the stage is being set. But I do think that this time can be one where Cancer is a bit of a conundrum in that they're the cardinal signs, the initiators, the doers, but it's based on such a psychic, intuitive, emotional type of a cathexis really is the word for Cancer. Those emotions and things in motion, but you have to be able to see where you're receiving from, because Cancer is so sensitive and can pick up on so many things. That's where the emotions are first felt. So take this time, especially considering too, like right now Mars is kind of heating it up in Leo, but he's getting ready to slow down here soon. And I think that I'm even just getting this message of being aware of just sort of like false starts, and not to say that things are going to go bad, but when things retrograde back into Cancer, I think that that would be very beneficial whenever planets are retrograding in specific placements, and look to see where Mars is going to be moving in, knowing when this tends to be a more emotional time, seeing what area this moon is falling in for you, more specifically what houses is activating for you, that you're feeling all these things, and then nurture maybe that aspect. So just some things I feel they really kind of reflect on with this moon. And if you're wanting to work more closely with these lunar shenanigans, solar shenanigans, birth chart, what's the McCall down in the description box we'll have a list of, which I've been working on getting editing, but I have a list of all the services that I provide down in the description box as well, so definitely check that out if that resonates with you. But let's go ahead and switch over. And the last little things, now we'll get back on track. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings to apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we jump into this thing, I'm going to ring this bell to bring some good vibes, so adjust your volume if you need to. But let's get into this thing. All right. Let me get hydrated here. Let's get into your general energy. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think I'm gonna pull another one on this just to just to make sure, get a little more clarification with this. But there's that new moon in Pisces again. We're tuning to the divine, and so I really think going back to that 5 W's of Cancer, what would Cancer do? I think that this can be a great exercise to tune in to those, because and it doesn't have to be just emotional. Sometimes we can be feeling something and it's stored as pain, possibly. There's this book, Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. That's a really great book, I think, for just like affirmations, and if you're noticing a certain type of whatever happening to come up, I feel like this really does cover it. It tells you the disease, the possible emotions and things behind it, and an affirmation to work with when you're working with it. So that might be something to definitely check out for yourself. But this is telling me to get in an energy where we take the word, when people say like water signs, and even not even just Cancer, but I guess we'll talk about Cancer in particular. But when they say like Cancer energy is so sensitive, to not let that be an insult, but tune it into that you're just so attuned to yourself and to what's going on of people around them, especially when you just, I think, if we just took a minute. But let me get another card on this to clarify this attunement that we're going through. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Another mutable new moon here, which you have the new moon in Gemini, which is the think it through. And so there's this marriage here which may be causing this dissonance of this head and heart energy is what I'm getting. It's taking whatever information that you're doing. It's like, what do I do with this? From that, how do I want to grow this thing? Because there's a lot of space I feel like that's needing to be filled. I'm really just kind of drawn to just the absence of light. That's very fascinating. Let's get some past energy on this and see what it may have been going on here. Thank you, Spirit. So for your past energy here, we're looking at the Page of Swords. And this gives me this energy of that thinking about that thinking it through. The Page of Swords is a very curious card, very mental card. One that I'm thinking, I just got a kind of this, I got flashed from the Thoth deck, the Princess of Swords. She's the earthy part of air. And this to me is giving this kind of looking at the past with the question mark. And like, when was the last time I did this? What is this feeling? Who have I been around that I've been noticing these things here? Maybe you've been feeling tired because other people have been feeling tired. You know how that when someone yawns, it just spreads around. But there could be a lot of insights there if you really kind of think through maybe some of the more kind of signs. Maybe you've look at sort of situations maybe over this, that, and this may not be something that has happened, but maybe something that happens during this time in Cancer, where something seems like a coincidence, but then when you look at it a bit more thoroughly, then you see there was some sort of like message here that Spirit was looking out for you more than you think. I'm thinking about this time there were before I was really kind of doing this sort of spiritual growth. There would be these moments where I'd be in the middle of an activity or some sort of task, and it's just like, what was I doing? And then my hand would just kind of whoop, and it's like, oh, right. And it would be like that all the time. It wasn't necessarily something like, at first, when I think about it, I was like, I thought maybe it was something that I would just do to spark something up, but it did feel more kind of like, no, it's like as soon as that would happen, it wouldn't be in the same direction. It's just like, right. And so, but let me get a clarifier with this Page of Swords here. Okay, so the Page of Swords, thank you, Spirit, is clarified by the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. And this gives me just this energy of, I'm getting this energy of deconstructing things that maybe you've done, almost like we're in that like taking two steps back of the taking one step forward process here, but really almost like for some really kind of going back a little bit is what I'm kind of getting here. And maybe a need, I'm also getting with this, maybe even a need to work out a certain situation that has happened here, that in what may have seemed like a bit of chaos, that when you think it through, it's just like, oh, this is what's going on. Granted, it's like, could we have done it? Could you have told me in a better way, Spirit? But maybe there were the signs, and maybe it was just something where there was just a lot going on that you couldn't quite see things through here, but something's coming to light, because the Eight of Pentacles, that's the Sun in Virgo. So you're thinking about the Sun card and the Hermit energy. And it's just like I'm getting this visual of the Sun being in that Lantern card of the Hermit. And it's just like, if we just shine some light and really kind of look over this past, and maybe we're not deconstructing things, but it's like you've been knitting something and you realize you missed a stitch or something, and we got to go back a little bit. And what happened that I got distracted like that? You know, what caused me to get into that space? What was that absence of presence that happened there? Because that's something very interesting that I was really getting drawn to with that empty space of both of these new moon cards here, but especially the one in Gemini feels like it's particularly just kind of void there. All right, let's get some present energy and see what's going on here. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. So you have the Three of Wands here. And with this card, again, there's more solar energy coming through here. This is the sun in Aries, which is where the sun is exalted in. And it seems like that something is coming in, because I'm thinking about in the Rider White how there are these boats. This person is waiting for the boats to come to shore, waiting to give back some news here, waiting to get back some information. And I I'm thinking with this card, if you can take the information that you got with the past, there's this energy I'm feeling of that you can repair something. Could it have been sooner? Sure. And I feel like I think that there's the caveat here is just try not to get stuck in this hindsight's 2020 energy, you know, but let me get a clarifier with this Three of Wands. You can get a little bit more with that. Oh, okay. Thanks, Spirit. So the Three of Wands is clarified by the Death card in reverse. And so presently it's giving me this thing of not to get necessarily stuck, or not get to this place where because this gives me, oh, this king, he's so dramatic. This gives me, I got drawn to the king that's just really just kind of zonked out. They just lying here just defeated. And I'm getting this to not let, there's a state of overwhelm that I think is happening with this Death card here. And maybe it's just this fact that we need to redo something, possibly. And maybe this could even be in this present. This could be even just like a warning right now, I'm even getting of just, I'm almost thinking, getting this thing of seeing how you've been perceived. And then maybe it's like seeing both roads as well. Letting, before you make, like, say, like a decision to hang out with someone, for example, it's just like, when I'm with this person, what do they make me feel? Go through those 5 W's again. What's been going on? Where have they been doing? Have I been keeping track of what's going on with them? Is this going to impede growth in any sort of way? And I'm even getting this energy here of, it's like maybe like a relationship is, the dynamics are changing in some sort of way where it used to bring in, you know, because again, when I'm thinking about the Three of Wands and like the Rider White, how there are these ships that are flowing in, it's like now the dock has been looking pretty empty for a while, and it just seems like that there's just something here is not something needs to give here. Even just thinking with the Three of Wands, there's only 2 people here, and it's like something that's needing to be made space. I'm even getting like a third wheel type of energy there, so that's something even to think about. Let's see what the future's looking like here. All right, so the future. Oops. Thanks, Spirit. We got the Ace of Wands here. And so I'm getting with the Death card, something's reached its expiration date. And maybe for some, there's this energy of not sure how, with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, how to get things moving, possibly. But I also think that there's this sense of knowing that something needs to change. But I'd say think it through before we end up making more of a mess to clean up than need be, instead of undoing, like I was talking with that knitting analogy, instead of just like completely undoing the whole thing. Let's go back. You may have to unknit a majority of it, but at least you still have something to work with. And that may not feel the best, especially if you have this kind of, it's like taking this heat and working back to go forward can maybe feel a bit infuriating. But I think that it would bring about more of this shift. It would kind of shake off some of this resistance as well. I'm even getting with this Death card kind of drawn to that kind of bishop there, just this bargaining energy. Let me get a clarifier with the Ace of Wands. Okay, so the Ace of Wands, thanks Spirit, is clarified by the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. And so I'm getting this thing where, especially if maybe someone has been doing the same thing kind of over and over again, that if they don't deliver in the present, if you find yourself waiting, think this through. I'm thinking this through of like, not necessarily of not telling this person about themselves, but more so this thing of, if someone says they're going to deliver and they don't deliver and they keep not delivering, take them at their word. Just let people, I'm feeling this, let them take care of themselves. Otherwise, there's going to be this state of like waiting for something to come in, and there's your dock back there, just like this single ship back there, but it just seems like it's not getting to the destination that it's meant to going for. There's a lot of patient energy here that's going on, and I think that there's a need to maybe even find some ways to, I don't want to say distract yourself, but maybe something to like where you're not feeling fidgety or like focusing on what's not moving is what I'm kind of getting here. Because the Death card, that's Scorpio energy, and Scorpio can hold a lot of emotions, and maybe there could be that frustration that's building up there, but yeah, be mindful of that during this moon. Yeah, really tune in during this moon in Cancer. And I even get with this combination of this Eight of Wands or Seven of Pentacles to the Eight of Wands, this thing here of not to look at something necessarily as a failure, but let it be where you got some kind of results possibly here. That's another thing that's coming through, but let's get some advice from the moon. All right, love it. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the Hanged Man card here, and let's switch back over. And I think that that's very, both this new moon cards here, this attuning to the divine, think it through. this seems like there's this thing of there's a lot of waiting energy, but I think it's only going to take longer for some people if we're staying in a situation that you know is stagnant. It's one thing when we're needing to wait on something, the circumstances are outside of your control, but there's another thing when I'm not that's interesting. Let me get a clarifier with, or let's get the clarifier with the hanged man to wrap this up. Oh, how interesting. Thanks, Spirit. I guess I don't need to talk much about it. The hanged man is clarified by the hanged man. And so, you know, I'm even getting, sometimes I think with the hanged man, this could be where it can be very kind of, this is the journey of water, the death cards in there. And there's a martyrdom that can come with the hanged man here sometimes. And I think that there's a force here. This Page of Swords is giving me like this even kind of youthful energy here that may be just like even affecting the frequency of your attunement here. Like, or if you're doing something again, not, I don't want to say necessarily a manipulation, but possibly with this energy here, especially when we're talking with the moon in Cancer. That's really interesting. So I pay attention to behaviors like that, if it's coming from you or if it's coming from other people. And if you notice it in yourself, be inquisitive about that. What is that? Why is that coming up? Where has this been? Yeah, where's this spawning from? I think that's all I got for you there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that there. A little something to think about. But oh, I don't think I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. All right, we're back on. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that there. So yes, if that resonated with you, if you like that, give it a thumbs up and share this if you know somebody who can get some nuggets of insights from this. And then subscribe there, you death card. And they hit that bell button, you get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, if you want to come check out the other stuff that I do on my other channel, Alchemist 8, down in the description box, a link for that channel where I do different videos, all types of different videos. I'm getting back on track, one day at a time. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card or cards here so I can get you out of here. Okay. So we're getting a couple cards here. Well, a few cards. Thanks, Spirit. So you have the Bear Spirit card, which is a card of healing. You have the Phoenix card, very Scorpio, card of transmutation. And then you have the Moonlight Enchantment card, which is a card of magic. And I'm also kind of getting with this kind of combination here. It's not necessarily that you need to do some healing. I more so think of this as a doing some things that help you tap into your magic, that help you shift through some things, that can even help bring about some this could be. I just see like an aha moment kind of coming with this this hanged man here, and it could, again, it could lead to some healing, but I think that it's more so just like leading into where if something's been feeling kind of stagnant, or if you've not been feeling attuned to yourself as of late. But there might be something here where if you're not engaging a certain situation, something that's not slowing you get down. Again, that's that Page of Swords figure, whatever that energy may be kind of creating itself as, that it's not to, sometimes the magic can be not in engaging in something to, and then let it just heal by itself, let it just sort of run itself out until, and maybe that's where this martyrdom is coming from with this double hanged man card here. This energy of someone feeling like they're, like someone's out to get them, possibly even. And it may just because they're not wanting to put up with a certain type of energy, and it needs to change. It's affecting the flow is what I'm feeling here. Trying to interfere with the magic. So yeah, very interesting. Some things to think about. But until next time, keep raising that consciousness and keep eyes on that moon. And I will catch you on the next one. I'm going to catch you. Oh, yeah. Mercury Day.